Hello, highly sensitive people. I'm Julie Bielen, psychotherapist and founder of Sensitive Empowerment. And I wanted to share a little bit about what we just did in our community. And I actually shared the live link as well to you all. So hopefully some of you got to watch an amazing presentation we just had with Bevin Niemann about how we can actually change our environment, our physical environment, to really help calm our system. And that is such a helpful thing as a highly sensitive person. As highly sensitive people, we have a trait called sensory processing sensitivity. And we can be very impacted by our environments. Our physical environments, for example, home, work, grocery store, all kinds of different places that you go into, even restaurants. So Bevin shared some really incredible tips with us today that really helped a lot. For example, she talked about super senses, that we might have a particular sense that's particularly heightened for each of us. And she talked about even creating a sanctuary space in your cubicle if you have that at work, or different kinds of elements that impact how we feel, thinking about color therapy, lighting, room temperature, noise levels, how things can positively activate your super senses as well, that you can, as a sensitive person, you experience the world in a different way, different than 80% of the population. And while our sensitivity can impact our senses in a challenging way, it can also impact our senses in a positive way, and something to be mindful of. And she shared some really fantastic ideas about what can help set us up to have more peace in our surroundings, to really lower the stimulation of our nervous system. And if you missed part of it, or you missed all of it, we have the replay available in our Sensitive Empowerment community, and you can get more information about that at sensitiveconnection.com. That's my website, sensitiveconnection.com. And I have so many resources for you as a sensitive person there. And many of our challenges really do stem from overstimulation of the nervous system, and that there's real things you can do about that help a lot. And today's event was one example of that. And Bevin had such great ideas about so many of these things that we can do to really support ourselves. Even having, when you're traveling or you're going out in the car somewhere, having a little bag of things that help support you. I know, for example, myself, I carry earplugs wherever I go, and find that to be really helpful because I can be very sensitive to noise. And the more that you slow down that nervous system motor, the less overwhelmed you feel, and the more tolerant you feel. So if you're actually really stressed or have high anxiety or really overstimulated a lot, your sensitivity is going to be more challenging. It's actually worse. But there is something you can do about it, and it's something that we talk a lot about in my community. Every week we bring in, either I'm teaching a training, or we bring in HSP presenters to teach us something. We've had an herbalist, a naturopathic doctor, a posture movement specialist, somebody that taught us about Ayurveda, and really so much of this has to do with how to support your system as a sensitive person. And I love the comments that came in today during our presentation, our live presentation, just that, the idea of being normalized, that we all experience certain types of challenges at time, and to be able to talk about that with other sensitive people, I cannot stress that enough, how important that is. And what I love about our community is that it's actually not on social media. So we're not bombarded by advertisements and all kinds of overwhelming chaos. It's just a really special space that's supportive and nurturing, and we learn a lot about our trait and each other and ourselves, and how to live our highest self in the world. And we need you to live your highest self in the world. You're needed so much in the world. And if you can be at your balanced self, you will be so amazed at the gifts that you have inside of you. I know that sometimes it's hard to know that we have these kind of gifts that 80% don't have, But if you are really overloaded and overstimulated in your life, it's harder to access those gifts, and then we end up being in really difficult places. Both Bevin and I shared today, that we used to be in really overstimulated places in our lives. And I shared that I can remember that I just wanted to be able to get into my room and close the door and shut out the world. And that's all I could think about. And it was a really difficult way of living. And to be able to understand the trait now is my mission in life, is to be able to teach you guys about the trait and that there's something you can do about it. I think that's the message that comes across the loudest, and the most important piece is that you can do something about how you experience the world. It can get easier, even if you're really sensitive. I am way high up there on the scale of sensitivity, and if I'm not taking care of myself, I'm kind of a mess. I can have anxiety, I can have depression, I can have a lot of sensory sensitivities that overwhelm my life. But if I take care of myself, I'm balanced and I'm well, and I'm able to go out and help the world. And how I do that is by teaching you how to also become balanced and well. So there's so much you can do about it, and I hope that you know that. Because you're living amongst 80% without this trait, stimulation levels are normally at the level of the 80% that don't have this trait, which is why it can be challenging. So there's a lot that you can do, and I hope you'll have a chance to watch today's presentation with Bevin. It was just so helpful to learn, and the topic was called Shifting from Overstimulation to Sensitive Sanctuary, the Importance of Our Physical Environments. And you can find more information about that at sensitiveconnection.com. And I hope you guys are taking good care of yourselves out there. Bye, everyone.